talking about super fights, if we're talking about something that's really going to get the MMA world excited, then it would be Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira.
I think my most immediate goal is to try to be on the White House card.
I mean, it's just very funny. You can say stuff like this, and this is the guy you ducked in the worst duck of all time.
I feel as Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony.
Something big is brewing in the UFC. After staying quiet for so long, Jon Jones just shocked everyone. He's calling out Dana White, talking about massive fights, and throwing shade at his rivals. The question everyone's asking, is this the beginning of the biggest comeback the Octagon has ever seen? Stick around because things are about to get wild. Jon Jones just dropped a bomb. He's opening his heart about where he stands right now and what he wants next. He's showing nothing but respect to Dana White, saying there were some rough patches between them, but he gets it now. Jones is being real about his mistakes, and he's making one thing clear. He wants back in. He's thankful for everything Dana has given him, and he's ready to earn back that trust. The fire is still burning inside him, and he wants the world to see it again.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
And I think my most immediate goal is to try to be on the White House card.
Okay.
And
you talking to Dana? How's he feeling?
You know, I'm giving Dana his space. You know, Dana has changed my life.
Yes, he
has changed my life. He's changed my children's lives.
Yeah.
And I'm forever grateful to him. Okay. And we had a verbal agreement that didn't go over well. Nothing was finalized.
But here's where it gets deeper. Jon Jones isn't hiding from his past anymore. He's straight up admitting things got messy between him and Dana. There were fights, disagreements, and times when they didn't see eye to eye. But now, Jones is laughing about it, being honest, and saying he wants to fix things. He knows the fans deserve better. He knows the sport deserves better. And most importantly, he knows he can still deliver those massive fights that shake the entire MMA world.
Make it right at the White House.
The way things went down, I was wrong. And I wish that I could see him face to face and just apologize to him, and so that we can let bygones be bygones and get back to making some major money for the sport and really entertaining these fans.
He's a businessman, and there's no doubt that you are his favorite fighter of all time. There's the memes of it. He loves you. It's a matter of time.
When he's feeling me, I think I'm one of his favorite fighters. Yeah. When he's not feeling me, I'm probably the reason why he has a bald head.
Then Michael Bisping jumps into the conversation, and he's hyped. He's talking about Jon Jones fighting Alex Pereira and calling it one of the biggest super fights ever. Bisping says if there's any event perfect for this, it's the White House card. But wait, there's a catch. Bisping throws in a challenge. He says if Jon really wants that spotlight, if he really wants to prove he's still the best, then he needs to handle business first. And that business, Tom Aspinall.
Tell me, listen, this is a super fight of epic proportions. There's absolutely no better card or more fitting card than to put Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones on at the White House. Now, if I was running the promotion, and obviously I'm not, and I don't get a say, but if I was, I would say, all right, okay, I'll call you bluff. Jon Jones, you want to fight at the White House? Fair enough. Fight Tom Aspinall. Fight the guy that you were supposed to. Now, of course, he's got to fight Cyril Gane first.
Now Jon Jones shifts gears. He's got his eyes locked on Alex Pereira. He's calling him a true champion, someone who carries himself with respect and has earned his spot at the top. Jones isn't just hyping this up for clicks. He genuinely believes this fight would break records. He's saying this would be a global event, something the entire world would tune in to watch. In his mind, this isn't just another fight. This is history waiting to happen.
I'd like to fight Alex Pereira at the White House. Yeah. I feel like he's incredibly respectful. I feel like he's a household name in America, in MMA. Everybody knows who he is. He's a champion. He's in the conversation of being one of the greatest fighters of all time. And I just think it would be a blockbuster event. I think the whole world would come out. I beat many Brazilians over the course of my life. Many. It's the people that I've beat the most.
But hold on, Chael Sonnen steps in with a reality check. He's breaking down how the UFC actually works. Every fight needs to mean something. It's not just about putting two big names in the cage and hoping for the best. Sonnen says the UFC builds stories, creates paths, and makes sure every result leads somewhere. A fight has to matter beyond the night it happens. It has to push the sport forward and set up what comes next.
Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones. Guys, I'm trying to get us there. I'm trying to get us there. How do we do it? I get that we can just go make the fight. But if you throw that out, then the game kind of comes to an end. Just go sign the fight. But here's the problem. Problem number one. The UFC puts on fights that have significance. Now, you must understand, there's huge repercussions. There's little repercussions. There's repercussions that will be marquee names at Madison Square Garden. There's repercussions that'll pick up a guy 70, 80 Twitter followers. But there's a significance to every single fight. There's a reason behind every single fight. The outcome of every single fight has to lead to something, or the UFC doesn't do it.
Chael isn't done yet. He digs deeper into the Jon Jones situation. He admits this fight with Pereira is special, but it has to fit into the bigger plan. And here's the problem. Jon Jones keeps talking about the White House event like it's the only option. Sonnen points out something interesting. Every other fighter in the UFC is ready to go whenever they're called. They're hungry, they're chasing opportunities. But Jon, he's comfortable sitting back. He's picky, he's in control, and that makes things complicated for everyone involved.
When you have something as special as Jon Jones and Alex Pereira, does it have to be able to fit in the same box as everything else? No. But if you are trying to guess and predict what the UFC is going to do when you have 30 years of knowledge and insight into the psychology of what they do, we run into a little bit of a problem. The biggest hang-up for me is White House. If Jon Jones would start doing some call-outs and leave that out of it, it'd be very different. There is no fighter, that's a literal statement, not one, aside from Jon Jones, who is okay not having a fight. Every fighter under contract wants to fight, and for various reasons. It's what they do. It's their social life. Their coaches are counting on them. Their managers are counting on them. Their coaches, their sparring partners, and their managers who all get a little piece of it.
Michael Bisping comes back even louder this time. He's painting the picture of what Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira would look like, and he's losing his mind over it. He's talking about how Pereira has dominated 2 divisions, knocked out legends, and built a name that makes even casual fans pay attention. Bisping drops the ultimate statement. If Alex Pereira beats Jon Jones, there's no debate left. Pereira becomes the greatest mixed martial artist to ever live.
But about super fights, if we're talking about something that's really going to get the MMA world excited, then it would be Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira, right? Alex Pereira is one of the biggest stars. He came back in style and destroyed Magomed Ankalaev. The man's phenomenal. He's unbelievable. He's a 2-weight division champion. What he's achieved in this sport is ridiculous. If he was to face Jon Jones and if he was to beat him, then I guess he would go on and fight for the 3rd belt, and that'd be it. That'd be set in stone. Alex Pereira would, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, be the greatest mixed martial artist to ever compete. Simple as that.
Just when everyone thought Jon Jones had his mind set on Alex Pereira, everything changed. Out of nowhere, Jones started talking about Tom Aspinall. The internet exploded. Fighters started responding. Analysts started debating. Fans picked sides. What was supposed to be a simple call-out turned into the hottest topic in MMA overnight. And Jon Jones, he was just getting started. Jon Jones didn't waste time. He gave his honest opinion on Tom Aspinall, and it wasn't pretty. He said Tom is athletic, sure, but that's about it. Jones broke down Aspinall's grappling and said it's nothing special. According to Jones, Tom's whole game is built around a basic 1-2 punch combination. And the worst part? Jones says he's already watched the tape. He's studied it. He's figured it out. In his eyes, there's no mystery to Tom Aspinall.
I feel as Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony. I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2, you know, and then I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. Beautiful 1-2. That's really about it.
But Jon Jones kept going. He started talking about Tom's fight with Cyril Gane, and he wasn't impressed. Jones said Tom looked shaky under pressure. He said when things got tough, Tom couldn't handle it. Jones is questioning whether Tom has what it takes mentally. He's saying Tom needs to level up if he wants to hang with the real elite fighters. It's not just about talent. It's about heart, strategy, and staying calm when the fight gets ugly.
So that's the one thing that he's setting up real nice. He couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. Gane's hands was down. He was shaking his shoulders, bouncing around.
He was touching him. He was touching him.
That jab too was money.
He busted him open.
He was so comfortable.
I think Tom was looking for a way out, and he took it. He needs to change his game plan.
Man, Tom, when Tom gets hurt, it's like he's like immediately incapacitated.
Michael Bisping jumps back in with his take on the chaos. He's noticing how divided everyone is online. Jon Jones has his army of fans backing him up because he's a legend, but Tom Aspinall, he's getting support and hate at the same time. Bisping repeats what Jones said about Tom being overrated and relying too much on that 1-2 combo, and with every word, the tension between these two fighters keeps building.
And Tom Aspinall right now he's getting a lot of online. There's a lot of people supporting him, but there's also a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon and talking a ton of crap. And obviously Jon Jones, an incredibly popular fighter that's been around forever. He's one of the GOATs. You know, he's got a lot of fans. And a lot of people are going to get on the side of Jon Jones. Simple as that, because they're his fans. And Tom's English and he hasn't been around too long and all that kind of shit, right? But the reality is, he said that Tom Aspinall is incredibly overrated, and it's quite simple. All he has is a good 1-2.
But Michael Bisping doesn't fully agree with Jon. He starts defending Tom Aspinall. Yes, Tom has knockout power and dangerous hands, but Bisping says there's way more to his game. He talks about Tom's jiu-jitsu background, his years of training on the ground, and his ability to finish fights in multiple ways. Bisping looks at the stats and the finishes and says anyone calling Tom one-dimensional is flat out wrong. The facts don't lie.
That's the one thing that he's setting up real nice.
That's it. That's all he's got. He's got a good 1-2. It's dangerous. He can knock people out. He got Curtis Blade with it. He did a bunch of other people. But if you've watched Tom Aspinall, you know that's not true, okay? But he's not overrated. He hasn't got a simple game. The man's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He started doing jiu-jitsu when he was 16 years old. And I'm not trying to do another video here defending Tom Aspinall or taking Tom's side over Jon Jones. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just calling out the facts like I see it. When you look at Tom Aspinall's record, 15 wins, 12 knockouts, 3 submissions. So he's finished all of his fights and he's got 3 submissions on there. One of them was against Alexander Volkov, right? Took him down in the very first round and got him with a straight armbar. Also submitted Andrei Arlovski. Granted, it was towards the end of Andrei Arlovski's run, but to say that the man just has a 1-2, to say that he can't wrestle, to say that he doesn't have a ground game, as we know, that's nonsense, okay?
Finally, Bisping brings up one last point. He says the timing hasn't helped Tom at all. Recently, Tom's training partner, Anthony Dieza, accidentally poked someone in the eye during his fight and kept going. People started comparing that to Tom's situation and it made things worse. The online trolls had new material. The critics got louder, and Tom Aspinall found himself defending his name
last week, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. But the worst case scenario kind of happened for Tom Aspinall. If you want to jump on the bandwagon and talk a little bit of crap about Tom and say that he is a quitter, right? What happened last week at the Apex didn't help him because his teammate, Ante Delia, who right before the fight happened said, I've had 33 pro fights, I've never poked someone in the eye. He poked Waldo Cortez Acosta in the eye. It was a bad eye poke. Costa was like, he was covering up, he was curled up in a ball and like the referee stepped in for a second. It was a bad eye poke. We saw it on the replay. The fight continued.
Even more, Luke Thomas hears all of this and he can't help but laugh. He's pointing out how ironic the whole situation is. Everyone was saying Jon Jones was ducking Tom Aspinall before. Now Jones is suddenly talking about him and breaking him down. Luke admits Jones might have some valid points about Tom's game, but he also reminds everyone of one thing. The fight was there, the matchup was on the table, and Jon walked away from it. That's the part nobody can ignore.
I mean, it's just very funny. You can say stuff like this, and this is the guy you ducked in the worst duck of all time. Like, what the fuck? It's hard not to laugh. It's hard not to laugh. It's hard not to laugh. I'm being dead serious. It's hard not to laugh. You know, where it's like, okay, on the merit of what Jon is saying, could he be right? Yes. Yes, he could be right. The argument about why Tom was supposed to fight Jon, or right, actually vice versa, why Jon was supposed to fight Tom, was that Tom was the guy. He was the interim champion. He was the one that had done the best work to that point and seemed like, you know, a credible threat. But the argument was not, oh, we just know for a fact that Tom is way better than Jon. We know he's going to beat him. That was, some people made that argument, but it was never my argument. My argument was it was an intriguing fight and that maybe Tom could win it.
Luke Thomas keeps digging. He agrees with some of what Jon is saying. Tom's defense might have holes. His athleticism might be covering up some weaknesses. But here's where it gets spicy. Luke brings up the money. He reminds everyone that Jon Jones turned down a fight that could have paid him $30 million. $30 million. That's generational wealth. And fans still haven't forgotten. They're asking why Jon avoided that payday if he was so confident.
That's really not why it had to happen. It had to happen for the other reasons. That's why you have to have it. And we don't know much about Tom. Like, we don't know hardly any. We still don't know much about Tom. You know, it's actually kind of a bit of a problem. But some of the things we have seen is his defense is not great. He overly relies on athleticism. And the truth is that can actually be very successful at heavyweight, where, you know, having distinct athletic advantages just means a lot. But, you know, could Jon be right that he's a bit of a one-trick pony? He could absolutely be right. It's just like, dude, you're not the guy to make this argument. You ran from this guy as hard as possible to the tune of 30 million, a purse that either we may never see again, and there was no purse that size before it.
Then Luke tackles another angle. He's talking about the eye poke situation with Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones criticized Tom for stopping after getting poked, but Luke defends him. He says, fighters aren't robots. They're human beings who make smart decisions. If you can't see properly, why would you keep fighting? Luke compares it to tapping out during a submission. Nobody calls that quitting. It's just survival. It's logic. And Tom Aspinall shouldn't be shamed for protecting himself.
What I hear sometimes being like, oh, you know, Tom was poked in the eye and he would never quit like that, or where he thought, like, you know, he was losing and now he wants to take a way out. And I want to be clear, I take Tom at face value. If he says, not every time, I mean, obviously if other facts are revealed, then we can change the opinion, but, you know, as a general rule, if a guy gets like poked in the eye like that in the middle of a fight and is like, I can't see, I tend to believe them, right? But like, as a general proposition, be like, oh, he would never quit after he just saw that the fight wasn't going great and wanted out. Why would he not do that? Oh, well, they're too tough to do that. Yeah, but they're rational actors, and at the highest level, they're the most rational versions of any fighters that you get. The point I'm trying to make is we already build in surrender into fights more generally and more naturally, like, for example, tapping with jiu-jitsu.
So here we are. Jon Jones isn't playing quiet anymore. He's firing shots, calling people out, and making demands. He's talking about Dana White, challenging Alex Pereira, and tearing down Tom Aspinall. The entire MMA community is watching and waiting. The storm has arrived, and nobody knows how this ends. Is Dana White going to give Jon Jones the comeback fight he's begging for? Will we finally see Jon step into the cage with the dangerous Alex Pereira? Or will Tom Aspinall force his way into the conversation and make Jon prove he's still the best? The hype is real, the stakes are higher than ever, and one thing's for sure, this is far from over. What's your prediction? Do you think Jon Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall, or is he right to chase the Pereira fight first? Who would win if Jon fought Tom tomorrow? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's debate. If you're hooked on these breakdowns and want to stay updated on every twist in this story, smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning, and you don't want to miss what happens next.